Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Today we're reading from Matthew's Gospel, chapter 17, verses 24 through 27. When they came to Capernaum, those who collected the double drachma tax approached Peter and said, "Doesn't your teacher pay the double drachma tax?" "Yes," he said. When he went into the house, Jesus spoke to him first. "What do you think, Simon? Who do earthly kings collect tariffs or taxes from? Their sons or from strangers?" "Well, from strangers," he said. "And then the sons are free," Jesus told him. "But so that we don't offend them, go to the sea, cast in a fish hook, and catch the first fish which comes up. And when you open its mouth, you'll find a coin. Take it and give it to them for me and for you." Now, a double drachma wasn't a wrestling move. It was a tax that was established in Exodus chapter 30, verses 11 through 16. And the tax's original purpose was to atone for any mortal sin that an Israelite soldier might commit in battle. The tax was utterly unnecessary because Israel didn't even have an army. It was even more unnecessary that the Messiah, the one who would himself atone for all sin, should pay the tax. But King Herod had greatly expanded the temple complex, and part of his expansion included the building of a marketplace. It was Herod's version of discount shopping, except there were no discounts. It was high-end shopping. He was gouging the people for the exchange rate on their sacrifices. It suggested that Herod's reimposed double drachma tax was to pressure the public to pay for Herod's construction projects. Now, Jesus would not have sinned by ignoring the tax, and yet he paid it. The temple was the house of the Lord, and Jesus detested what it had become. And Herod's expansions were designed to further extort the worshipers. But now Jesus, God's Son, as it were, was asked to pay for unwanted additions to his Father's house. Can you imagine? Jesus had plans to take a whip and to clear Herod's merchants from the temple complex, but that was going to be another day. So Jesus still had ministry to do around the Galilee. And paying that tax kept him and his disciples on the good side of the religious Jews in the area. He chose his battles wisely, and so should we. He was winning souls as well as saving them. And that's a lesson for all of us. Keep the main thing the main thing. By asking Jesus and Peter to pay the double drachma, the tax collectors proved that they didn't believe that Jesus was the Messiah. And they treated him as a common stranger in God's house instead of its inheritor. And finally observed that Peter and Jesus didn't have any money that was readily available. And perhaps Jesus was showing Peter that Peter would eventually be supported by a byproduct of evangelism, and that is offerings. Fish symbolize evangelism in the Bible. And this community support system is observed in Acts chapter 2, where the early Messianic believers, the church, committed all that they owned to the community of believers, and they were laying their belongings at the apostles' feet. You know, even today, church and ministries like Groundworks Ministries, they're supported in the same manner by the generous support of kingdom-minded believers. I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Check us out at www.groundworksministries.com.